Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of ZoukCast. As always, I have on the other part of the computer my co-host, DJ Nymph. Hello, Nymph. How are you?
Hey Sandra, I'm good. Just recovering from the week Bremen, the ZoukMast 2, I think the marathon. Yeah, and I feel good.
Okay. Cold has arrived in Netherlands or what?
Yes, as you can see, I'm getting cold here.
Okay. And now let me introduce you to Jukka. Hello, Jukka. How are you?
Hello, Sandra. Hello, Nymph.
Hello.
Nice to be here.
It's cold, I can imagine, already in Finland, right?
It's been cold for a while now. Cold and dark.
Okay, well, we have invited you for the several articles and things that you normally post on Facebook and on some blogs. I was particularly curious about the Zouk Slang Dictionary, and we will talk about this
Right.
a bit later. But before, why don't you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit when did you discover Zouk and how and everything?
My name is Jukka. I've been dancing Zouk now for about 6 years. I started dancing Zouk when the Zouk scene here in Finland or Helsinki just got started. And about 4 years ago, Freddie and Andressa moved to Helsinki and I became their student. And I still am their student. So now I'm also teaching in their school here in Helsinki.
Okay, and when did this Zouk Slang Dictionary started, or how did the idea come to your mind?
Well, I don't remember exactly, but I just thought that, okay, we have so many weird words we use here. I think these are mostly ones that were used in Finland in the first place. And I decided, okay, this makes a good topic for an article. So I wrote it down.
And do you have also another webpage in Facebook about where you write some articles?
I'm not really writing articles right now. It's more like just some small dance insights or observations or whatever. It's called dance insights, like written together in a funny way. I can put it later into a link in Facebook.
Yes.
Under this ZoukCast.
Okay, cool. Yes, well, about the Zouk Slang Dictionary, I have to say that I normally read the different updates that you put on it, and that for sure most of them apply to the Zouk world in general, but as we are quite a small community, we can say, I feel so much attached or linked to some of them. I remember one of your last update that was about, I cannot remember the name, but a guy that helped you trying your outfit for the night to see if it's gonna work or not.
Oh, it's
warmer something.
It's a bit different. It's a bit different, but it's called Warm Up Guy.
Yes.
Yeah, it's basically let's say you're going to a festival or even a normal party, so you have some guy that you trust can give you a good and a safe dance.
Yeah.
And you start the night by dancing with him to get ready for the later, to warm up.
Okay, I was saying about the dress because I use Javi Santos for both. So for general warming up in the sense you're referring, and also for dressing. Like if I dance one song with Javi and at the end of the dance everything is on its place, I'm gonna survive all the night long for sure. Maybe you can add dress proving friend or something to the
dress test or dress test guy.
Yeah, exactly. That's test guy. And the other different words that you have there, all of them came only within you that you have the idea, or you have some friends or colleagues or Zouk teachers saying you should have this, you have to have this.
Some of them were mine. Some of them were from my friends. At least one, I don't know where it originally came from, but I got it from my wife.
Okay.
So they come from all the sources. So if you have some word of your own that you are using in Barcelona, for example, I can add it to the dictionary.
Okay. I will make sure if I have anything to add, then I will let you know. Niva, can you think about any word, Zouk related word to add to the dictionary?
I don't know. I mostly hear the Brazilian talking about Jesus. And I think Zouk related, maybe.
Yeah. I got this kind of nickname. It was in Prague Zouk Congress, like maybe 4 years ago, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And it was Easter theme in the party, like the dress competition. And the most people were dressed up as like Easter bunnies or something like that. But I came in dressed as Jesus. And I won the competition. But after that, like some Brazilian teachers, and whenever they see me, they are like, Jesus, Jesus. I'm not sure they actually remember my name, but...
they know you as Jesus now, no?
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, you can put this in a dictionary.
Like the owner, no? Jesus.
Yeah.
Okay, and going back to the inside short articles that you have, you will put the webpage in the ZoukCast after in the photo, so everyone interested can see them. Do you have any special article or moment in your Zouk life that you would like to share because it was particularly funny or something?
This, I think, is like it's the first article that I wrote.
Yeah.
I wrote it to my friend Giles' Zouk Side Down blog. It was called Zouk Back to Basics, and it got a very positive reception and was shared quite widely. It was about the importance of learning your basics well and keeping working on your basics and not just learning new fancy stuff all the time.
Yeah.
And I really liked the reception it got, and I got good feedback from several teachers about it. So that's something that was kind of important to me, especially since it was the first article I ever wrote about Zouk.
Okay, so that's a good way to start. And how long or less did you write it? When did you start?
I think I actually wrote that one quite fast, but I usually, when I write an article, I just write it first and then I wait a moment, edit it, and only after that I publish it.
Yeah. Okay, well, I remember this article of Back to Basics, and I have to say that our teachers here in Barcelona, they always give the basic classes with the basic steps a lot of importance. And then me myself, for instance, that I've been regularly more or less going to classes for 7-8 years, I still go to the basics, and they're
cool.
still correcting me, which means that for sure you never got the perfect basics. No?
Are you going to Daniela Letis
No, with
classes or
Marcela in Barcelona.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So you have many teachers who are quite passionate about these fundamentals and basics.
Yeah, so we have quite a lot of good teachers in Barcelona. And if for you the basics are also important, or you just don't pay attention to them?
No, the basics is the most important. When I started dancing, I did only I was practicing the basics like for 3 years, only the basic stuff. And after that, then I start building all the other techniques and moves. But the basic is like the fundamentals. So it's important. People should focus more on dancing basic stuff. And when they are like embodied the basic completely, then try to do all this other advanced stuff and crazy things. But the basic should be like from here till your body everywhere.
Sure. So well, we all agree, and about about the other topic that you are written, and I see that normally a lot of teachers are sharing this, which is good. And sorry, going back to the basics, that's what I was gonna say. What do you think then of these new teachers appearing from everywhere, which are not really trained on the basics, that are getting some students, and then the students are getting some damages in the body because not practicing the basic correctly and all this. Do you have also the case in Finland, for instance?
Not here, not really. We are lucky in this respect,
Yeah.
at least at the moment, keeping my fingers crossed. Well, of course, it's like it's not like a new thing. And of course, it's not really a good thing necessarily. But let's say you have some people who are starting out teaching in a place where they have nobody else to teach. Then they have to basically like do what they can to get the scene started. But otherwise, yeah, I think it's not a good idea to start teaching until you have like several years of lessons under you.
Yeah, if they don't have a proper teacher to teach them the basic, then it's important for those people to follow classes like modern, jazz, contemporary, other dances to get more body awareness. And when they have this body awareness, getting the Zouk basics would be more easier and better for them instead of just like doing nothing and just copying moves from YouTube and teach their students. So yeah.
Well, I don't really know if those getting the body awareness from solo dances is necessary. Like, of course, it's good, very good for any dancer or teacher to have more body awareness rather than less. But I think the more important thing is, well, if you don't have the good basics, you kind of go after them. You go to congresses, you take private lessons on the topic, and you maybe go to some immersion courses that we have in Europe, like a few, and bring the knowledge back and work on yourself.
Yeah, there's a question, the big question. What are the basics, the fundamental of Zouk?
That depends. Like I know you are more focused on MZouk, so you have it very well defined. You have primero, cuarto, quinto, all the rest. These things. So it's very like well thought out. I do more Zouk traditional. It also has the basics, but they are not necessarily like codified in the same way as in MZouk. I mean, the teachers have very good idea of it, but it's not like somewhere and then everybody can look at it and say, oh, these are the basics. But Zouk traditional, it's like, for example, we have our own set of moves that we teach in our fundamentals course that we think that kind of get the students started in the right way and teaches them good technical points and gets them ready to dance in a good way and sets the right base for the future. Yeah, I'm not sure I answered your question, but if you can make it more precise, I can maybe do a better job.
Sandra?
No, for me, I understood your point. It's true that in MZouk we have these names, and that basic course it's like very typographied, so it's very specific. But I can imagine, I have also taken some lessons of traditional Zouk, so I can imagine that the basic referring to the basic movements before going out of the axis and doing hair and more difficult things, that you have to manage your body, control your balance before going to do very complicated things, no?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay, I have a question. How is nowadays the Zouk scene in Finland? Because I have to admit that I've always wanted to go there for the festival, but for some reason or the other, maybe because it's peak season for me at job or I have other trips, I've never been there, and it's really my objective for 2017. So apart from the Congress, which I have seen it great, how is the scene? Are you many dancers? Do you have a lot of classes?
Oh, I'm pretty biased, but I really like our scene here, and I'm quite proud of it in a way. It's not super big. Let's say my Facebook party invite list has like 100 people, so not that big, but I think the quality is good. We have, as far as teachers go, we have Freddy and Andressa, and people from their team who are teaching, like me. And we also have Ossi teaching MZouk. And we have Nora, who is teaching Lambazouk here. So we have like enough teachers to go on, and each of Just like schools have some classes weekly, and we have 2 socials every week. And maybe once a month we have a bigger party. That's the current status of the scene here.
Cool.
Okay. There's another question. Like it's a follow up of the previous question. To train the basics, do they only contain the steps like the tum chik chik or quick quick slow or 1 2 3 steps, or like in Zouk the primero cuarto quinto? So is it contain only those basic steps, or what do you see more like a part of the fundamental? Like if I have to think, like part of the fundamental would also be like not only the steps but also the awareness of your core, using your the center on a proper way. That's also part of the fundamental, and the musicality.
That's the thing. We can make a difference between the basic steps and the fundamentals. The fundamentals apply to everything. You use them when you do make advanced moves or anything like this, but you also use them when you're making your more basic steps. I agree that these like skills such as musicality and body awareness, they are part of your fundamentals. But when I think of fundamentals, when it comes to Zouk, I usually think more about the technique of the dance. Like we have the basic steps in Zouk traditional, like let's say the normal basic step or lateral, but we also have the technical details about how to make them work really nice. Like in basic, we have the use of the contact or the rotation of the body or how we shift the weight, how we use the hip, this kind of thing. These are fundamentals. And if you think about basics, I don't necessarily, when we teach fundamentals, we don't go that deep into musicality, because the important thing in the beginning is to get people to hear the rhythm. We kind of give them already like some hints about how they can dance more musically, but there is like a progression that we work with.
Okay, great. Do you have any other question from the chat?
No, not yet.
Okay. I was when we post. I remember that when we post your episode of today, someone was calling you the Zouk freak.
No. That was actually, I think it was Zouk nerd. That's actually my Zouk partner, Sonia. And it's like meant very well in a friendly way, because we like to think about Zouk a lot and get deep into the stuff.
How many hours more or less per week you dedicate to Zouk? In between the classes you give, the classes you attend, maybe the articles you can write, and your personal time thinking about different things?
I think it's quite a lot, actually. If you add the thinking and the stuff, it's a lot, because if I think about how much I do Zouk, it can go like maybe 15 hours or 20 or something like this.
Yeah.
Already a lot, but if you add when I think or watch YouTube videos or whatever, it can go to bigger.
Yeah, like addicted, no? Like you start and you never find a moment to stop. Okay, great.
I don't see why should I stop. I like it too much.
And what is the thing that you like, or one of the things that you can say more, that you like the most about Zouk itself, about the dance first?
That's a good one. I was just thinking about it yesterday. One of the things I like about Zouk is the connection, which is what almost everybody likes about Zouk. But I like the aspect that you can dance really close and hug and embrace and breathe together in this very close way, and then you can get further away and you can have eye contact and kind of play around. So you can have this connection with different layers, where if you take a dance such as kizomba, you are mostly like all the time hugging and close, or you do West Coast swing and you're all the time far away. But in Zouk we go far away and then we get back together close to hug, which is really nice.
Yeah.
This
So
is just one thing that I like.
And
Sorry?
the contrast, that it can be very closed or it can be very open. So you have a big amount of variety there. Okay, and about the Zouk people, not the dance, do you really sing? Because some of my friends tell to me that we sing, we are all different, so have different background, different study, different profession, but we are like rare or strange, but all together, like the same thing, like that we are all the same. And what do you think about the Zouk people?
I think it's true. Like when you travel, you meet a lot of people, like but there is something like I think special about the people who take up Zouk. Maybe because of the dance itself, or because we are in a way still a small scene or whatever. But there is something different.
Especially the way of, well, at least quite a lot of Zoukers that I know to travel because of Zouk. So you do you visit the cities not only because of the cities themselves, but because there is some Zouk Congress there, no? So it's traveling because of Zouk and doing some tourism and for the same reason. Do you think that
pretty much.
And the people in Finland, does they normally in general travel a lot for Zouk congresses, or they are more for local events?
Depends. We have a bunch of people who travel, and then we have some others who don't travel so much. Of course, the people who are starting out, they don't necessarily start traveling straight away, but eventually they will go out to see the world.
Yeah, cool. And if you had to say something that you would like to change about the Zouk in general for the future, do you think you can imagine something?
Zouk in general, not
like maybe
the dance itself, but I think there's currently there is a lot of focus on the work in Zouk that is done out of close position, out of the embrace, little turns, head movements, dips, whatever, and especially outside Brazil, there is kind of neglect of the embrace and the hug. And this is something that I would like to change a bit so that the hug would get kind of more respect or attention. And not just the hug, but dancing in the close embrace itself.
Yeah, do you agree, Nim?
Yeah, I would also like to see less embrace in Zouk. So I totally don't like the embrace like every 8 beats and a poof.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like salt. You don't want to use too much.
Yeah, when you put too much, it gets not really good, no? Maybe that's the key. And
unhealthy.
Sorry?
Yeah, also.
Unhealthy also.
Yeah, unhealthy, especially for the ladies if they don't have the proper technique. What do you think is gonna be the future in Zouk? Do you see clearly that we are going to a certain place, both on the dance or in the community itself? Because what I personally see is that more and more we're having much and more congresses that at the end you really don't know if quality is everywhere, is there are too many or something.
I really don't know. I want to be hopeful about Zouk. I think some of the more established scenes that have kind of quite high standards like tango or West Coast swing, I would like to think that we are going in this direction, that we are kind of growing up as a dance in a good way.
Okay.
This is something that I kind of would like to see, but I'm not sure it's going there. I don't really know.
Yeah, and about the music, do you have any particular taste for some music style when you are gonna dance in social, for instance?
I'm pretty much very non-picky when it comes to genres. I like all the genres basically, and I dance to them. But I like there to be a balance, not too much of one thing the whole night.
Okay. Nim, do you have something to say about music?
The music, yeah, of course, there are a lot of changing music is evolving, like from the traditional Zouk music to this modern remixes, but also new products that are coming. Those are not like the traditional Zouk music, but electronical music. I think the future of music is going into the direction of like electronical music. Yeah, also the Zouk dance, you will still keep this lambada, lamba Zouk dance, but also the traditional Zouk, and then this new hype, new vibe is coming with more this flowy Zouk, trance Zouk, with contact improv, other influence. So it will be all mixed together, like all the like neo Zouk, M Zouk, whatever Zouk there is, flow, soul Zouk, they will be mixed together, and you will have this flowy Zouk. Or whatever they will call, but you will have, of course, this basic like lambada Zouk, and then this traditional Zouk, and I think Kadu and Larissa are doing great job to bring this Rio style Zouk or traditional Zouk to a higher level. So that's good. And on the other side, a lot of people are experimenting with hip hop, R&B, dubstep, contact impro, and other dances into the Zouk. So it's still growing and growing, and I don't see any end. Yeah.
Okay. So, well, let's see where it goes, because it's true that music is evolving a lot. The dance is having more and more different influences. And do you think that so what do you think is key for growing as in a local scene or the Zouk in general? So do you have, Jukka, some basic rules or some thoughts that maybe can help the Zouk community to grow without losing quality, for instance?
And here I'm like going to like kind of talk about our experience here in Finland.
Yes.
And it's basically Freddie and Anders' approach. And the key here is that they think long term when they like grow the scene. They told me kind of in the beginning that of course they could like get more people if they started doing a lot of drop-in classes and letting everybody in, but they didn't want to do this because they think it's kind of important to have the progressive courses so people can learn. And when they start to do cambres and stuff like this, they will do it in a safe way. So this is, I think, important for scene building, that you think long term. You don't like go like, oh, I have to do it right now to get a lot of people. Of course, it's like good to get a lot of people, but if you kind of cut the corners, there is a risk that you get a lot of people, but then it will all collapse in a few years.
Yeah, I totally agree. And you, Nim, you think the same?
Yeah.
So it's better to think always in a long term and not wanting to make real business or money of it, like getting new students that then maybe they can get hurt sometime if they don't learn the proper basics.
Yeah.
But the thing is that people from the outside, I think that they see it as a very difficult dance. So is there a key to engage them, maybe letting them know that it's not so difficult, or you have some clues?
Well,
you can let them dance in the closed position, like raise.
I mean, the thing is that if you take Zouk, like all of Zouk, even just all of Zouk traditional or whatever, it's a huge thing. There's like huge amount of possibilities, and to use all those possibilities, you need a huge amount of lessons, basically. So this can be kind of intimidating to people who come in the beginning. And to avoid this, you want to have the kind of culture where, okay, people can come to the party and they can do basic step and lateral all night long without feeling that there's something wrong about this. And if you have ladies coming into the party, they dance with the advanced guys and to put the head movement and cambre or whatever, but the guys kind of stay in their comfort level. I think this is important.
Yeah, it's true. Maybe sometimes it's for the new guys, it's more the job of the followers normally to make them realize that it's really not boring to dance one or two songs only with basics. If the basics are well indicated and the connection is good, sometimes we can enjoy more than doing crazy stuff all the night. And sometimes it's also good to breathe a little bit and have a more like quiet song. And if,
Yeah, exactly.
do you have any other question from the chat?
No.
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 Any other question that you want to ask to Jukka?
Nope.
I would like to ask you both, first, Jukka, if you have any Zouk wish for this Christmas or 2017. That's a quick sum up.
Oh, that's interesting. I'm actually, because I'm teaching in this Erfurt festival, in the name of our class is Zouk wishes for the new year.
Okay.
So it's kind of a thing. But if I will take the first thing that comes to mind is that is like, don't forget to hug.
Okay, good advice. Do you have something to add to this advice or any other different advice, Nim?
Well, I'm thinking, but I cannot. No, I don't. I don't know. Just it's okay.
Okay, so don't forget to hug, don't lose connection, relax, and let's see.
I think yeah, it should like hygiene. It's important before you hug people. Think of your hygiene. Not eat a lot of
Yeah.
garlic. Not eat a lot of garlic, and change your clothes more often if you sweat a lot, because some guys or women goes and they are drinking or whatever, eating a lot of shawarma, and they smell, and you hug, you will think like, oh my god, let's go away.
Okay, so
Hygiene.
maybe we can
You
be
know,
first hygiene, then hugging or something.
Yes.
yeah, you know, we have some people who go to parties with earplugs to kind of protect their hearing if the volume is too loud. So maybe it's like if you go to parties with a lot of people like this, you take the nose plugs so you can hug all in one without any worries.
Okay, so this is the final advice. I think we can leave it here with this great message to everyone. Thanks a lot, Jukka, for being here with us and sharing with us some of your thoughts. It has been a pleasure to have you here. Hope to see you soon somewhere, and then we go all clean, and then we hack, and then we dance.
Yes.
And thank you also, Nim, for being there. And thank you, everybody. And we see you in the next episode, that it's next Wednesday. Teaser will be posted really soon, so we'll have another very special guest. And well, that's all. Stay tuned, because Jukka will post the link of their blog on the web, on the Facebook page. And see you soon. Thank you.
All right. See you next week.
Thank you, Sandra. It's been a pleasure.
It's still live, Sandra.